Meanwhile, adding injury to the insult of the Raiders losing to the Broncos, Jack Del Rio said moments ago that Derek Carr has a fracture in his back as a result of that hit. It's an injury that typically takes 2 to 6 weeks to recover. Up next, home against the Ravens, followed by home against the Chargers. Doesn't matter with the Chargers, right, Ryan? Home against the Chiefs, at the Bills, at the Dolphins, then a bye, and then the Patriots. The Patriots, a team that many projected that the Raiders, behind a recovered Derek Carr who broke his leg to end last year, would challenge for AFC supremacy. Now looking at being without.
Wrong, though.
Yeah, right? Now we're looking at 2 to 6 weeks without your quarterback, and EJ Manuel stepping in. How significant is this?
Well, we saw what this team looked like last year without him. And if you remember, it wasn't just the offense that suffered. The defense was bad as well. It was like they were deflated. Obviously, you go out and get EJ Manuel, and you think that's an upgrade to the backup position. But we saw him in Buffalo. He's not a starting quarterback in this league. He's a get you through a game type quarterback, not necessarily get me to the playoffs. And so if you're the Oakland Raiders, a team that has been struggling offensively the last 2 games anyway,
right?
Where do you go from here? And you can see, too, after the game, Del Rio was kind of like optimistic when he was talking about it. And you could tell Derek Carr knew, hey, man, it's a little something going on back there more than what they're letting on.
Absolutely. And you mentioned they were struggling already against Washington last week. Crabtree out with a chest injury. These are the types of injuries, man, that not only change the course of the Raiders season, but also the teams that they're facing. Obviously, Baltimore's in the thick of it, despite their offensive struggles. You got the Chiefs, who look like the class of the league right now. The Bills we'll get to in a second. I mean, just going 6 weeks, if it's the maximum, you're talking about into the bye. So maybe if they can afford to hold him out for the bye against the Patriots. But then not just the recovery, but how much practice time is he getting with his team?
Right. Well, you missed that. But like you said, you mentioned those teams. You're giving those teams a game up on you.
Correct.
And also a game that maybe they don't win if Derek Carr is playing. So the ramifications of this injury stretch far beyond Oakland. And so you rest him, and these are the things, you mentioned the injury to Crabtree, not an injury to Derek Carr, that derail seasons as a whole.
Correct.
Right? You come in with all these high hopes. You're seeing the offensive
coming out of retirement.
Exactly. You know Oakland's moving in 2 years, so they say, to Las Vegas, and now it's like, oh, my goodness, this season's a wash. And so EJ Manuel was going to have to find a way to win some of these games somehow, and hopefully you get Derek Carr back on the short end of the spectrum and not the long end.